Welcome back to our weekly academic writing sessions. We have been talking about critical thinking. If you look back at building a braiding map using 4 different voices, that's really a technique for writing and putting together your argument in your thesis in different chapters in your thesis. What is critical thinking? And if we understand critical thinking and we master it, it won't be difficult to write any chapter, because critical thinking is a vast subject. It's a subject, maybe to define it, it is a skillful way of identifying issues, of making logical arguments, of being open-minded when making those logical arguments and taking a position around an issue. And that particular position needs to be justified and substantiated with valid facts or valid information, so that there are no non sequiturs. In other words, there are no logical fallacies that connect the conclusion, the assumptions, the premises of an issue or the premises of your assertion when you are making that particular issue. So let us look at 3 ways that weaken an argument. The first one is when you are making shallow arguments, arguments that are not grounded on logical or valid evidence, and when you are engaging shallowly with your content, and you have not taken time to investigate the facts, the assumptions of that particular argument. The second way in which we weaken our arguments is when we take a premature stance. A premature stance is to actually take a position. And we see that a lot of times when people write opinion pieces where they attribute a performance or an outcome to one policy. I've seen a lot of those arguments, for instance, where the performance of our economy is attributed to one particular policy, and there is no critical thinking into the causal dynamics of that particular outcome and other factors that could have influenced that particular outcome, and the complex nature of the outcome in terms of our economic performance as a country. So that is the second area where we weaken our arguments, when we take positions prematurely without delving into the dynamics of causal effects of that outcome. The third and the last one I want to talk about today is when we are married for better or worse to our position. So you take a position, and that I see a lot of that when students are writing or engaging with their work. They take a particular position and they argue for better or worse, irrespective of what evidence is coming out, irrespective of what literature and scholars are saying around that particular topic. So try and avoid weakening your arguments with taking a premature stance, with engaging shallowly with your content, and thirdly, with being married for better or worse to your position, irrespective of the evidence that is coming out. Let's pause there, and we'll press more on the topic of critical thinking next week. All the best.